Hi again, it's Jason from Fraser Valley Rose Farm, and if the weather holds up, I'd like to take you for a quick walk around of the gardens here to have a look at those roses that are blooming a little bit ahead, a little bit quicker than the rest. These are roses that, owing to their close genetic relationship with wild roses, those hardy wild roses like rugosas or Scots roses, are usually about 1 or 2 weeks ahead of the rest of the roses in the garden. That being said, it is a mad rush once these go off, so it's a quick early warning system for me that I'm going to have all of my roses in bloom within a week or two. I'd like to throw in a quick plug here. I don't mind saying that we do tours on the farm here. It's where I walk you around, let you have a good look, a feel, a smell of the roses, and ask your rose related questions. For those of you who are nearby, you can see the details of that in the description of the video, and I'll link it on Facebook as well. And if you're not nearby, well then this tour here will have to do. This is a Scots rose named William III, and while each individual bloom may not be that impressive on its own, when taken as a whole, what an impressive shrub this makes. Here's a variety called Robusta, giving us an impressive full flush of flowers very early in the season, with plenty of buds to come. The pink rugosa rose, which is the wild beach rose of Japan and Korea, the rugosa roses can give us white or near white blends like this almost lilac, snow pavement rose. This darker purple shade of rugosa is probably the old variety named Hansa. I don't actually know because it's been here at the front of our driveway since before I even moved in and has survived ages here, probably a 30 or 40-year-old plant. And look at how that blooms. Put that up against the rhododendrons. Here, of course, is Prairie Peace. I've been showing that off for a few weeks now, and I'm going to continue to get some nice color on that, but you can see it's obviously also dropped a whole litter of petals underneath here, so it's definitely gone through a pretty active bloom period. Feature a couple of others here in the same area of the garden. This is a rugosa hybrid called Topaz Jewel. Again, showing off that color range where they've bred it with other species and gotten the yellow color in here, which is quite nice. This variety here is called Betty Will, and that also is a Canadian bred rose that has a scattering of blooms on it very, very early because of its close relation to species, including probably Rosa blanda. And over here, this is a Scots rose, kind of unique in its own way. It's Stanwell Perpetual, which is a repeat blooming Scots rose and will continue to give me blooms throughout the season. Here is Rose de Recht, one of the Portland roses. Look at the tidy form on that one there. And the rose is held right close to the foliage. Beautifully fragrant. One of my favorites of all time. Rosa centifolia, I guess the Latin name means 100 petals. Haven't counted, but they sure are packed in there. And of course, in the early stages of bloom now, I find that this, compared to some of the other old garden roses, does have an extended bloom period, often blooming before and keeping on blooming later than other old garden roses. Scots roses can give us some additional colors. This one in a light yellow, Harrison salmon, can have that salmon tone as it opens. And then right behind it here, getting close on up, we're going to see that this is double pink. And of course, the older blooms turn white, but you can see in the fresh blooms here that we do get a nice pink color on those. Here's one of the close cousins of the Scots roses. This is Rosa Persiana, Austrian copper, with that coppery orange color in the blooms. And another close cousin of the Scots roses, this is hazeldean with notably very, very full petals and rounded bloom form. Here I'm catching perhaps my first bloom of the year on Kazanlik, or the damask rose that's often used in perfumery. And you can see here, of course, it has big clusters coming up there of buds. So this bloom will soon not be alone. And I wish I could show you the fragrance. That is gorgeous. Sometimes the miniature roses cheat out early. This is Laura Ford, a climbing miniature, in yellow and pink, and of course it goes to pink as it fades out, so you can see this has had time to get through its first flush and have the first blooms fading as well. Gotta love the almost gold speckled blooms of Alchemist. I've been showing this one off on Instagram from the ones that bloomed indoors because they're a little ahead, but now the one in the landscape has started to catch up, and it really just has a very complicated color in person, and of course I hope I can show it in video here as well. Here's Duchess de Montebello, and I'll try to get you a look at the bloom itself because it has that beautiful little green eye in the center, pale pink blooms, and looking at the whole shrub itself, you can see how close it is to being in full bloom within days, or at least a week anyway. Here's another little mini rose that I'm enjoying. This one's called Golden Century. Nicely formed little blooms, already in a bit of a profusion, and confusingly, because it's a mini rose, it's definitely going to tackle this entire archway here and cover it for me, because mini means the flowers, not the growth habit of the rose. Something about the minis is that they are genetically, because of those small flowers and their relation to certain wild Chinese ancestors, very quick to come into flower. And so you can see that even though these have not had the benefit of greenhouse treatment, that there are smatterings of color all over my mini garden here. Got kind of a fun pairing here. This is a Japanese quince, and these are just late blooms compared to the other Japanese quince. But then have a look over here, just a few steps to the right, and I have a very, very similar color on a rose. This is Rosa moyesii, where I don't know how to describe that color. It's sort of a geranium pink or brick red. Interesting color anyway, and almost in a tree form. I'm going to back up here so you can see, but that is the effect of it. Just covering itself now, or starting to, with its beautiful single blooms, and then later it gets these urn-shaped hips, which are also ornamental and interesting, and well, I just love it. And in this video, of course, I've been featuring some of the early blooming roses because they're Scots or rugosas or other species-related roses, but this is a reminder that my main flush of roses is not that far behind. This is an early one for the hybrid teas, but this one here is Indian Summer. And then looking over here, this is a David Austin shrub rose named Winchester Cathedral, which is already showing some reasonable amount of color. And just popping over this way here, and we have a tall Floribunda, I think, or it might be a hybrid tea. I get those ones kind of genetically mixed together, but this is Arthur Bell. And just a parting shot here of Crown Princess Margaretta, which is another David Austin rose, but it's just showing that just that beautiful, complex, deep colors that they're well known for. All right, I hope you enjoyed a tour of some of the earliest blooms in the garden. Just a touch of color out there so far, but it won't be long. That's my takeaway here, and thanks so much for watching.